much. What brought you into the clinic this evening?
Lately I've just been feeling really tired day to day and persistent headache that doesn't seem to go away. I've also been experiencing some dizziness and lightheadedness, especially when I walk up the stairs. I notice I have to sit down right away because I feel like I'm going to pass out.
Okay. Have you had any major lifestyle or diet changes?
I did become a vegetarian about, it was probably about 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay, so it's possible you're not eating red meat then?
No,
right?
no meat at all.
Okay, it's possible that you're lacking an essential nutrient called iron in your diet, and iron is good for normal body functioning. So you're affecting the homeostasis essentially in your body. Does that make sense? So you could be suffering from an iron deficiency anemia, but we'll have to get the doctor in to run some blood tests and confirm that, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm Dr. Madeline. Tamara's blood results have proven that she has iron deficiency anemia. I'm just going to explain how this condition affects the normal physiology within her body. First, let's look at the normal physiology. Red blood cells, abbreviated by RBC, are biconcave discs which have no nucleus. They also have a red pigment, and this is represented by this drawing. Red blood cells are vital to maintaining the body's homeostasis. They have many functions, but one of them is respiratory gas transport. Both oxygen and carbon dioxide are transported by red blood cells. These respiratory gas molecules move into the red blood cell through simple diffusion across the cell membrane. Inside of normal red blood cells, there are vast amounts of a protein called hemoglobin. The hemoglobin protein is circled on the diagram. Once oxygen molecules diffuse through the cell membrane, they bind on to hemoglobin proteins. Each hemoglobin protein can carry up to 4 molecules of oxygen. Hemoglobin is composed of heme groups and globin proteins. This is a close-up diagram of the hemoglobin protein. Hemoglobin proteins have a complex 3D shape and quaternary structure. They are made up of 4 amino acid chains, 2 alpha subgroups and 2 beta subgroups, which are represented by the green and purple on the diagram. Each amino acid chain tightly surrounds a non-protein heme group. There are 4 heme groups for 1 hemoglobin protein. The element of iron is essential to the production of functioning hemoglobin and also to the transport of oxygen. Iron is a main component of the heme groups within the hemoglobin protein. Iron makes it possible for hemoglobin to transport oxygen, because oxygen binds to the iron within the hemoglobin protein. Now let's look at the pathophysiology of iron deficiency anemia. You guessed it, this condition happens when we have a lack of iron within the body. When we lack iron, we see a decreased production of hemoglobin, since the heme groups cannot be produced. This means our red blood cells cannot function properly, and we see a decrease in oxygen carrying capacity. Now let's look at this again, but with a diagram. A lack of iron means that heme groups cannot be produced, leading to less functioning hemoglobin within red blood cells. As shown on the left, we normally have vast amounts of hemoglobin. But with iron deficiency anemia, we see a decreased amount of hemoglobin proteins in the red blood cell, and this is shown on the right. Less hemoglobin leads to a lower oxygen carrying capacity of the red blood cells. Normally we see oxygen diffuse into the red blood cells by simple diffusion and bind onto the iron component in the hemoglobin. But with less hemoglobin, some oxygen molecules diffuse into the red blood cell and have no binding site. Therefore, oxygen has the potential to diffuse back out of the cell. Oxygen carrying capacity is decreased, and less oxygen is delivered to the tissues around the body. The symptoms of iron deficiency anemia are caused by low levels of oxygen reaching the tissues throughout the body. Some of these symptoms include headache, fatigue and weakness, dizziness, pallor of skin, and heart palpitations, among many others. The prevalence of iron deficiency anemia is greatest in females. The main contributing cause to this is heavy menstrual bleeding. Another cause can be inadequate diet. Some solutions to increase your iron uptake include iron supplements, eating lots of red meat, which for vegetarians we recommend substituting in high-protein foods such as spinach and legumes, and also eating iron-fortified cereals.